welcome back to the Little Marketing Podcast. So last week we spoke a bit about resetting your marketing for the new year, so clarifying your message, reaffirming your positioning, and committing to consistency instead of restarting everything all over again. So if you listened to that episode and took a bit of time to reset, that's great, you've already done the hardest part. But now comes the next challenge, which is turning that clarity into a plan that actually works for your business. So clarity alone isn't going to grow your inquiries. Recommitment alone isn't going to grow your business. You need actionable steps, a plan that is simple enough for you to follow, realistic enough for you to maintain, and structured enough to bring in real results. So let's talk about why most plans fail. So let's start with talking about why most plans fail, especially in small business. So small business owners often get stuck in the trap of overthinking or overcomplicating things. They create a 12-month plan with content, emails, social posts, ads, events, newsletters, workshops, and even more. They have them all perfectly scheduled in spreadsheets and project management tools. So it sounds great in theory, but the reality is that it's often not sustainable. By Feb or March, life often gets in the way. Marketing drops off, consistency starts to disappear, and suddenly all of the planning that they did starts to feel wasted. A great plan, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. It just needs to be practical, realistic, and aligned to your goals. If your plan is too heavy, it's not going to stick, but if it's too thin, the needle's not really going to move. So starting with your positioning. So if you remember from last week's episode, it all started with positioning. Positioning isn't just a theory, but it's the foundation of your plan. So before you schedule a single post, email, or campaign, make sure that your positioning is crystal clear. So you need to address who you help, what problem you solve, why you're different from your competition, and why customers should trust you. And once you have this, everything else is going to flow naturally. Your marketing plan is going to become a roadmap for your business and not a guessing game. Every activity in your plan will now have a purpose, and it's all going to tie back to your positioning. So next we plan for consistency, not volume. So one of the most common mistakes that a small business owner can make in the new year is focusing on volume instead of consistency. So you might feel the pressure to post daily, run multiple ads, send weekly emails, and post on every single social platform. But instead, think about what you can realistically maintain. Can you post once a week on Instagram and LinkedIn? Perfect, stick with that. Can you commit to one email per month? Great, start there. Can you post one blog post every few months? The magic of a marketing plan isn't how much you think you can actually do, it's how much you can actually follow through on and making sure you're doing it consistently. And consistency over time is going to build trust, credibility, and awareness with your audience and your customers. Using a simple framework. So here's a framework that you could use to create a realistic plan for your small business. So number 1, core content pillars. So these are 3 to 5 topics that align with your positioning. Everything you post should relate to one of these pillars. Secondly, touch points. So define the channels that actually reach your audience. So social media, email, websites, events, or even SMS. Focus on 1 to 3 channels, not 10 or 20. Thirdly, frequency. So determine how often you'll communicate. It doesn't have to be daily, weekly or fortnightly can be enough if you're consistent with it. Number 4, repurposing. So one piece of content can become multiple touch points. So for example, a blog post can become 3 social posts, a short video, or an email. So using this framework, you can plan a month at a time without overwhelming yourself or your team. Small business example. So it's always helpful to bring this to life with an example. So we had worked with an accounting team in Sydney who came to us in January and they were really overwhelmed. They wanted to do social media, podcasts, webinars, everything that you could think of. So we started with a reset. We clarified their positioning and then that became the foundation of their plan. Then we mapped out a simple plan together. So 1 blog post a month, 2 LinkedIn posts per week, a monthly email going out to their database, and a few more things here and there. There was no super fancy ads, there was no daily posting. It was just a plan that they could actually execute and feel comfortable with. And then fast forward 6 months, their marketing was super consistent, their message was clear, and their inquiries were doubling. So it wasn't about doing everything and anything, it was about doing the right thing consistently. Planning around key dates. So January is also the perfect time to look ahead at the key dates for the year. So for small businesses, this could include public holidays, seasonal promotions, local events or expos, or product launches. You don't need your plan to follow every single day of the year. Even highlighting maybe 6 to 10 events gives your marketing some direction and helps you plan around them. For example, a local florist might start to plan for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Christmas early. A consultancy might plan quarterly webinars or industry events, and these key dates form anchor points for which your marketing plan can follow naturally. Keeping momentum. So finally, the biggest trap can be that people make the plan and then they abandon it when life gets too busy. The solution is to keep it simple and trackable. Use a calendar, schedule posts for ahead, set reminders for emails, and whatever else that keeps you on track. And it's also a great idea to do a monthly review, so you can check what's working and what's not. Don't be afraid to tweak the plan slightly if some things aren't working, but never lose sight of your core positioning and message. A marketing plan is living, breathing, and flexible, but it works best when it's simple and structured and aligned to the positioning and your brand. So if you want to start 2026 strong, reset first, clarify your positioning, focus on consistency, not volume, and create a plan that you can actually stick to. So thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope it was helpful. If you want some more information, you can head to our socials. You can visit our website, which is littlemarketing.com.au, or you can send us an email at ask@littlemarketing.com.au.
Please note that all the information provided on this podcast is general in nature and is not intended to be specific advice to your individual situation. Please be sure to engage a professional for a customized approach to your business and personal circumstances.